Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network. The broadcast shows are for informational and entertainment purposes only. They are not designed to provide listeners with specific personal, medical, or counseling advice. Individuals with a medical issue should always consult their healthcare provider. MS&Me is not responsible for content of individual shows. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own. Enjoy the show.
Hey y'all, and welcome to Straight Up with MS and all its crazy little circles here on MS&Me Radio, which is brought to you by the MS Global Support Network. I'm sorry, I'm just having some fun here. I'm your host, Patty Long, and you can find me on Twitter at MSinItForLife, and I spell that MSENIT, the number 4, LIFE. I'd love to hear from you guys. Hey, and do me a favor. If you listen to my show and you like it, can you give me a thumbs up, please? I need some love about now. I mean, it would really, really help. Even though I don't actually see it unless I go in. I have to, I don't get the notifications of anything about my show because it's through MS&Me Media. So I don't know if y'all don't tell me, and I can see how many thumbs up something has gotten, which is about all I can see. So show me some love, guys. I'd really appreciate it. And of course that's on their YouTube channel, which first of course it's on the radio, and then on Mondays it's on their YouTube channel, and you can find it through MS&Me Media. So check it out and find me and give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. I had to laugh the other day because I have this friend Chrissy on Twitter, and me and her have just really begun a tight-knit sort of friendship, and she was texting and DMing, and I was getting confused. Where is that coming from, and trying to find the messages. And it was just funny, and we were kind of having fun with it. And she's got a 4-year-old son, and I really, really respect moms or dads who have MS and take care of kids, because I do that with my grandchildren, and there's 2 of them, 4 and 5, and it's tough. And I need my breaks, those times when I decide to put on a movie or something for the kids and let the movie babysit them while they play in my living room floor, because I'm just really not up to the task at that moment in time and need a break. And I'll take my break and I'll do some little odds and ends around the house, and different stuff, offer them food, and they will eat during that time, but I'll get my rest break, and a little bit will come and do exercises with me, and Nathan will play with blocks and building stuff, and which he gets mad when I call them blocks. They're Legos. And I should know this by now. They're Legos. Lego World has me at the level of an 8-year-old right now. No, I haven't accomplished the 10-year-old task yet. So I can't say I'm 10, but I'm 8, and that's a good thing, because I didn't used to be. I used to be about 3. So being 8 is wonderful progress in my mind, and you can make this forward progress, guys. I'm living proof of that too. And anyhow, I'm talking to Chrissy, and my husband calls, and he offers to take me to the lake to go walking. And I love going to the lake. It's beautiful, even though they kind of rebuilt it and made it look more man-made than natural, and I am a fan of natural beauty. But I still love the atmosphere and being around the water. I miss being able to get in the water and go wakeboarding and tubing and play on the waves and swim and do all this stuff. But hubby sold the boat the year after I was diagnosed, because I was getting worse, and my arms weren't working, and he figured, well, we don't need it anymore. She's never going to be able to do that again. Well, it saddened me that he sold it and then used the money for himself instead of for what we had agreed on before I signed the boat over. But anyhow, Chrissy and I are talking, and he interrupts us offering, and I tell her, I say, well, with hubby, you never know. I said, most of the time, you make a date, have plans, and he just kind of bails, and I get stood up. I said, and other times, I'm just not ready fast enough. So like last week, I still needed my shoes, actually it was 2 weeks ago, but 2 weeks ago, when I was sitting at the picnic tables that day, it was my shoes. So I wasn't, and that was all I still had left to do, was put my shoes on. But he was in a hurry, so he left me behind. And then I went up there anyways and had a blast. But, I said it's usually one of the two. We're rarely ever doing things actually together. And so I thought, well, 30 minutes went by. It doesn't take 30 minutes to get home, but okay, let's say traffic was super bad even though it was early. Could happen, right? 45 minutes, he's still not there. And I was dressed and ready to go and all that good stuff, so I wouldn't hold him up. And it took him over an hour to get here. Why? Because he stopped at a store. Now, I had asked him when I was on the phone with him if he was coming straight home, and he said yes. But then he didn't. But that's Chris. That's how he is. So, I didn't say anything. And we got to the lake. And I made 4 laps around the lake. That's just a little over a mile, y'all, but it's up and down hills and all this stuff. So I was pretty proud of myself. 1 mile in an hour. Well, close to an hour. That's not bad. Not for me trying to build myself back together and start again. But, because, when I do go backwards, which I do that backwards thing a lot in the winter, and I did go far in the backwards, which I have been working on these past 2 weeks really steadily. So I'm getting stronger, which is why walking around the lake was possible. But I don't go as far backwards as I once did. I went pretty far because there were many things, but, for each one of them, I don't go back to zero. I don't go back to where I started or anything like that. I don't even get halfway there. So I'm doing really well as far as my going backwards. It's just really, really frustrating. But, so we walked, and when we first got there and got out of the truck, which I had to ask him to park at the bottom of the hill, not at the top of the hill, because that way if I'm tired, I don't have to then immediately finish going up the big hill. I can go downhill. So he agreed and he parked. And I go to get out, and he gets out, and we get started walking, and immediately he's gone. Out of view. And he's gone. So I walked the lake by myself those 4 times. And that's fine with me. I don't really care. And I don't. And then I get back, and we have dinner and stuff like that. And then we're sitting out on the porch. And he starts going on about how there's no flowers in the big planters yet. Nope, there sure aren't. How there's no flowers anywhere. So I start, me being me, I start saying, well, there's flowers, there's flowers, there's some flowers, there's some, and I start pointing out flowers. So he gives me this funky look, rolls his eye and all that good stuff at me, shakes his head, and he says, well, if you don't go get some, then I will on Saturday. I'll go get some. I'll plant flowers. I'll get the dirt. I'll pick out the flowers, and I'll plant the flowers in the planters myself. And I kind of chuckled to myself, and I thought, this is so hilarious. I guess this is supposed to be a threat, y'all. He's going to threaten me. Okay, well, I just sort of giggled to myself, and I didn't say nothing. And actually, at one point, I had to turn the other way so he didn't see me smiling and giggling. But I was a silent giggler at the moment, so I was happy with that. And I know what'll happen if he plants these flowers and if he does this stuff. About a month after he gets them planted, he'll be coming to me wanting to know what's wrong with them and why are they dying. Why? Because he doesn't know anything about plants and trees and all of that. He doesn't know that annuals and perennials need to be treated differently. He doesn't know about how much sun to give the plants as far as what is considered, all day sun in normally sunny South Carolina. Because in sunny South Carolina, all day doesn't necessarily mean all day with no shade, because you're going to bake your plants, So anyways, he doesn't know any of this stuff. And that's why it's so funny, because he's literally killed nearly all my flowers. He killed out my mums because he wouldn't listen about cutting them so far back at the wrong time of the year for them to be cut back like that. So he killed those out first. He killed out an entire, 50-foot flower bed of petunias. That's part of a hill front in front of me, and it was going to be beautiful. And I had all these babies that coming up from the seedlings, and had done all this work out there for a couple of years. Had flowers coming up everywhere, and he puts a 2-inch thick top of mulch over it. Killed every dang one of them. So, he killed that out. What else have I had? I've had flowers up against the house that his buddy told him the flowers weren't real pretty and he should cut them off. So he did. They're annuals. They need to seed. Without the flowers, there are no seeds. There goes that bed. The perennials, because I want to leave leaves over top of where my annual beds are so that my annuals seeds will not freeze during the winter or anything. I want to keep them protected, and I protect the plants, and those same plants will not, if they're big enough, they won't die during the winter. They'll just kind of quit growing, and then they'll be back in the summer, even though they're annuals. But you have to protect them, and my leaves are how I protect them. But he doesn't understand that leaves on top of perennials is going to kill them. And he doesn't take directions very well because he's the man. I don't know. He's just him, I guess. But I'm not going to worry with it. I know what's going to happen. I gave up on having vegetable gardens quite a few years back because he wanted to argue with me about where to put them. And where he wanted to put them And the size he wanted to make it was like he was Joe Farmer. And no, I'm not Joe Farmer, and I'm not doing that kind of work. And that's not a good place. They will shrivel and die. So, or else they're going to be bug infested because you're going to water them to death. But in any case, then he puts tomatoes in a pot, and he's done this and done this and done this and done this, and every year he has problems. So he finally quit. So now he's trying to threaten me that he's going to plant the flowers on the front porch. And all I can do is laugh at him, because I really don't care if he plants them. I know if I don't plant behind him and fix it, that they are going to die. They just will. And I know if he picks out plants that need the sunshine, they aren't going to have any flowers on them, and they're not going to look good. They'll just be stringy, because that's what'll happen. So, I know these things, and I can allow him to get to me and get mad, because I know that instead of having a pretty front porch, it's going to look pretty pitiful. Or I can just laugh it off, knowing that this is what's going to happen. He's got this big, long history. I mean, 20-something years worth of history in this house. And so I know how he's going to act. And I know that he knows nothing about these plants. So does it bug me? It used to. Back when I first, not even when I was first sick, but after I got sick, that next summer, I didn't care. I didn't even know what was going on around me. And the summer after that, again, I didn't know what was going on around me, so I didn't care. And I think it was sometime in 2015 that I kind of woke up from all of that, if you could call it that. But I did. It was kind of like I'd been, zombied out for all this time, and then I started coming back piece by piece, and just remember this, that, and the other. I don't remember the whole year at all. I don't even remember the highlights of the year at all. I just remember very specific little details, and it's crazy because I don't remember, but I don't. But that's when I started waking up, as I'd like to call it. And I don't want to be stressed out by what this guy is doing. I don't want to go backwards. So does it really matter so much if he takes over planting those planters? No, it doesn't. He can do the work. He can do the watering work too. He can do it all, because if I do the watering, he's going to want me to then put the hose away, or if I would have to carry pots of water or jugs of water, and I don't want to do either. So call me lazy if you want to, but I'd rather spend my energy on something else. And I can't let something so little like that, something that really has no huge importance in my life. I mean, they're pretty to look at, and I love gardening, and I like going to the store and picking out the flowers, and I know what will grow on my front porch because it's pretty much full shade. One planter is speckled with morning sunshine, and another is speckled with the evening sunshine, but other than that, it's shade. So I know this, so I know what flowers will work. But does it really matter? And if they do die, which they will, I already know that. This is a given. I mean, this is the guy who looks on the instructions for for the fertilizer and says, well, these plants are outside, so it tells you to use this much for outdoor. And I'm like popping myself in the head going, they're still inside a pot. But it doesn't matter if he kills them. It doesn't matter if they look good. I'd like for them to look good, but I kind of doubt they will given his history. So I'm expecting that. And that's fine. I don't have to do that. That takes up a lot of my energy, a lot of my time, because I can't do it all at once. You know, I have to build breaks into it. So my planting would take days and days, and his would take, 30 minutes, maybe an hour at the most, depending on what he does. But, so why should I worry about this? Why should I spend my energy worrying about it? Why should I let it stress me out? And the answer is simply I shouldn't. So instead I laugh and I giggle to myself, knowing that after he gets them planted, 3-4 weeks, he'll come to me and want to know what he's doing wrong and what's going on. And he might show me a plant that's not supposed to have big leaves, but has ginormous leaves because he's over-fertilized it. And I'll be sitting there laughing again because I know what's going to happen. And it's better to laugh than to cry. And, laughter is a wonderful thing. And when you have these things that you can expect, it just makes them funnier. Or at least to me. So I do get a kick out of this kind of crap. And I get a kick out of his standing me up for an hour before coming home because it's so predictable. And I really didn't expect by the time he got home for us to be going to the lake. I figured he was out with the boys. I figured he got that call from one of them saying, stop by, she'll never know, stop by for just a minute. And then, he stays till 8 o'clock. So I did get to go to the lake. And along the way, walking around the lake, I got to see a lot of stuff and hear the kids laughing on the playground. And the fact that I wasn't walking with him, I don't care. More power to him to walk by himself. Now, we did the same number of laps, but yet I was there first, so he extended his laps. I went a different route. I went completely different route every time, and because there's a landing, and I went around it. So, that's just really, it was fine with me. I got to say hello to people and smile at people and get smiles back, wave at little kids, and all this stuff. And I started to go up onto the playground and decided that might be a little creepy because I didn't have a kid with me. So I didn't go. What y'all think? Would that be creepy? I think I've gotten a little too hot, y'all. Jeez, it's springtime. Let me catch my breath. Oh my goodness. Yes, the sun has moved while I was talking, so I'm now in the sunshine again where I was in the shade. And because I'm out on my back porch, and yeah, that sun just shined when it came out from behind the trees. It just like hit me all of a sudden. It was like, ugh. And I know that y'all have experienced that kind of stuff. Gosh, that's crazy. So I've already started acclimating to the heat, but I'm not at all acclimated to the sunshine itself. So I kind of took aback by that. But we don't, get back to what I'm saying, and my point is this, guys. We don't want to get stressed out over stuff that really isn't that important. And my flowers really aren't that important. They might be a want. They might be a I'd like to. But in the grand scheme of things, they're not that important. The same with housework. That goes on the back burner. I do not vacuum. Why? Because even with a lightweight vacuum cleaner, that is really super hard work. And it takes me lots of time, lots of energy, lots and lots of rest breaks to vacuum my house. And for hubby, it's 15 minutes tops. So I know he rushes, but still, it's a 15-minute job for him. So why not leave it to him? Let him take over it. Because he will, so let him. And I did. And it's the same with emptying the dishwasher, which part of that problem is I'm so short. But part of it is just the energy and the amount of time, the number of breaks that it takes me to empty a dishwasher and put things away. So that I don't do. I leave that to him. And I deal with the dirty looks about, well, why didn't you do this? And I deal with the dirty looks by laughing to myself about what an idiot he is for giving me the dirty look in the first place. And this is sort of how I handle this sort of stressors. I don't want to comment back to him on them, because if I make a comment about whatever he has said or done, then I'm the one that's going to suffer. So I keep my mouth shut, and instead I laugh at the humor within it, because it's sarcastic humor, but still I laugh at the humor within it. I am better off. I got to do this because I didn't empty the dishwasher. I got to do this and this and this because I didn't vacuum. So I look at it like that. And that keeps the arguments from happening. And it keeps my life peaceful, even though I know that the situation isn't ideal. And I don't expect it to ever change, because things like that don't usually change. People have a history, a pattern of how they do things, just like he does with the yard. So, oh my goodness, my time is up. Yay, me again. I have again forgotten to look at the timer and keep track. Be careful of the heat, y'all. Know the warning signs. Know to move out of the sunshine, which for me was really simple to do, because I'm sitting on a deck and I have a lot of shade trees. But know the warning signs and know what's going to happen, and then react to that situation. Don't react to people's words and comments and looks. And that way, you eliminate a lot of stress. I have gone way over. I hope this is okay, Ted. Thank you. Thank you all for listening. Have a great and wonderful day. And as always, smile big, smile often, laugh a whole lot. And most importantly, love yourself, including your wacky, messed up parts. Thanks, guys. Bye.